All right, Shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praise, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. I double honors unto the apostles and elders of JMS Great Millstone, and a sincere Shalom to Yakim, bringing out this word in diligence and in truth. Honor Brother Banya Kanan.
Brother Abiyah.
And we're coming through the Spirit, coming together to do a lesson, part of the series entitled Jake, Your Way Ain't Work, or Your Way Ain't Work, Jake, specifically speaking on the political movements. Because in this society, everybody wants, especially so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Hey, you've tried everything but repent, man. And here it is. Hey, you're continuously telling the prophets, that, hey, well, what y'all doing on highways and hedges is not building up black people, the community. Well, Jake, previous ways have all been quailed, man, ultimately by Yahweh Shem Shai. Because at every point, Jake has tried to get salvation by themselves. Right, which we understand that that's impossible in a society in which only Yahweh Shem Shai can bring Esau down, man. You can't win economically, you can't win physically, and you can't win by fleeing, and you can't win by getting in Esau's political system, thinking that you can have a kingdom within a kingdom, man. It just doesn't make any sense. You say anything, bro?
I got an opener. Just because the whole point of us being in this condition, and that we've been in this condition for so long, is the Lord is trying to prove a point. He's trying to teach us a lesson.
Okay.
It's like, matter of fact, I'm gonna read it first. Hosea 5:15.
Mm-hmm.
I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense, which is talking about Israelites, man. The Most High said he's gonna go return to his place, meaning he's gonna take his name off of us. He's gonna take his hedge off of us. We're gonna be vulnerable to being overtaken.
Yeah.
It says, and seek my face, like it. And I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense and seek my face. In their affliction, they will seek me early. And it's like we got thrown into prison. And the whole point of us being in prison is to feel that remorse, to analyze why we got ourselves in this position, and to make those changes, to change our mindset so that when we get out and go back to the real world, so to speak, we can live right. But Jake, they trying to break out of jail. They trying to fight their way out. They trying to do everything but serve the time and get the lesson that was meant to be taught.
Yeah, kind. Hey, Jake is doing everything except submitting unto Yahweh Shem Shai, man. Yeah. And you understand, hey, you have no power, man. Hey, and that's through history. Every point in which we got further and further away from Yahweh Shem Shai, hey, we became weaker and weaker as a nation, man. And the moments in which we repented, and got closer, got nigh into Yahweh Shem Shai, guess what? We became stronger, man. Mm-hmm. The nations feared us, because they knew that he was with us. But you hearkening to these idols and thinking that you can get it your own way, that's never gonna work, man. His name is on us. Yasser Allah, we being princes of the power. That power, that source is who? Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, man.
What did it say? The ox knows his master's crib.
Yeah. Yeah, the ox knoweth his neighbor, the ass his master's crib, but Israel doth not know. My people don't consider, man.
Everybody else.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Everybody else know how important our position is and how fearful our power is, but us.
Exactly. Yeah. I got a quick pre. Can we grab this in the book of Judges 7? Because it's speaking of Gideon. And basically, we're going to start here at the, Judges 7 at the top, Baba Kashan.
Judges, chapter 7 at the top. Then Jerubbaal, Jerubbaal, who is Gideon, and all the people that were with them, rose up early and pitched beside the well of Herod, so that the host of the Midianites were on the north side of them by the hill of Moreh in the valley. And the Lord Yahweh said unto Gideon, the people that are with thee are too many for me to give the Midianites into their hands, lest Israel vaunt themselves against me, saying, mine own hand have saved me. Right.
So when we read that in the NLT, the second verse, it says, the Lord said to Gideon, you have too many warriors with you. If I let all of you fight the Midianites, the Israelites will boast to me that they saved themselves by their own strength. And that's exactly what Jake think is going to happen. Niggas have repeated the same pattern and thinking that it's going to work. So what me and the brother did, we went to ChatGPT, and we basically entered into the algorithm and asked ChatGPT basically And I'm gonna read it verbatim what we said. 1 second, Salak. We asked the system. We asked, in what ways have African Americans tried to politically get themselves out of oppression? Give us a bulleted list. And it says, here's a bulleted list of ways African Americans have politically fought against oppression throughout U.S. history. So I'm going to read off a couple of these and then we can grab some more precepts. It says the abolitionist movement in the 1800s advocated for the end of slavery through petitions, speeches, publications. And then they gave the examples of Frederick Douglass, who basically, got yoked in with E, in the political realm to try to get changes for Jake. It says Sojourner Truth.
And I heard, I'm not sure if it's true, but I heard Frederick Douglass is an Edomite.
No shit. What?
I heard his, somewhere down the line, he has an Edomite father, but I have to fact check that, but that's, something I heard.
Well, sheesh. Well, hey. It says the Reconstruction era or the participation from 1865 to 1877. It says they ran for and were elected to public office. So like Hiram Revels, the first black U.S. senator, says supported radical Republican policies promoting civil rights and voting access. Because we understand Jake was a Republican before they were a Democrat. But even in that, to what avail was that, man? Jake getting into politics only put you further into the system. A left wing, right wing is the same bird, so it was to no avail. Matter of fact, can we grab that in Revelation
13?
Yeah, Baba Kashar. Yep. And then we got a couple more, but we're gonna grab this precept real quick. And 11.
This is Revelation 13 and 11. It says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
Right, and this is that rebirth of that Greco-Roman Empire, that beast in which it's speaking of, right? Which was revitalized, which now, is modern day Babylon. But before you had the Democrats and the Republicans, you had what they called the plebeians and the patricians, man, right? Which was just your same red and blue system today. One was the higher elites, the other was basically the common man, the peasant, quote unquote. Exactly, for the people, right? So it says, I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, right? So those two horns like a lamb, that two-party system, right? Because horns represent power. So this two-party system, Jake feeds into it every 4 years, man, right? And here they do, they tell you all these false promises to get your minds, man. Hey, and then they give you the illusion of choice by telling you need to go out and vote and support your party so that these changes can happen. Then once that individual gets into office, nothing that they promised you, is actually enacted, man. Because it's the same system by the elites, giving you the, as I said before, the illusion of choice, because they actually elect who they want to be in that position, right? And they continue on with their agenda, man. So Jake creep their way into that system, by ultimately making ties with E to feel as if they can make changes through his system to not be oppressed. But what good is a master that don't have slaves?
Right. And this whole system in which the laws and the statutes are established, they was never for the Israelite
exactly
in the first place.
Okay.
And the fact that every 4 years you don't have a choice of who you choose and who you vote for. You get persuaded on who you should vote for.
Yeah.
You might be Democrat for 8 years, and then next thing you know, somebody get put in office that's a Republican that all of a sudden you fond of. You like what they saying, what they pitching, and it sounds good for your people.
Yep. Kind. They tell you, we plan to do this for the black community. We gonna give HBCUs this amount of grant money. Same shit every year, man, or every 4 years to appease your minds. And then Jake is disappointed once again, right? It says, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, because that's ultimately going into the draconian measures in which Esau is going to bring. By saying, if you don't bow down into the system and how I want you to, then there's going to be consequences, ultimately death, man, right?
And just to highlight, we see how Trump is talking right now, just against these other nations. He's not sugarcoating anything. He's not being gentle. So what makes you think he's going to turn around and be gentle with the people after he's done, being treacherous with these other nations?
Yep, exactly. Right, so that's the point right there in Revelation 13. So like, we're gonna go back to a couple of these other ways. It says right at the Reconstruction, this is the civil rights organization in the 1900s. It says Jake formed groups like the NAACP in 1909, SNCC, SCLC, and CORE. Select. To push for legal and civil rights. Says the legal challenges, they filed and supported landmark court cases, Brown versus Board of Education, Smith versus Albright. Then you have the civil rights movement in the 1950s through the 60s, which was organized protests, marches, and sit-ins to pressure legislative change. Advocated for key laws like the Civil Rights Act in 1964 and the Voting Rights Act in 1965. And then you see what's next. It says the Black Power movement, man.
Bro.
Right.
Just before we get to the Black Power, because that's when Jake really trying to, go on their own.
Yeah.
Everything prior to that, they trying to go through his system to win.
Yep. Okay.
Everything that you tried to do, every route that you tried to take, you had to go through him.
Yep.
You have to use his money. You have to use his land. You have to use his laws, and so on and so forth. You always have to go through your enemy.
Okay.
It's dead end, man.
Okay. You had a precept or want to bring out one?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. I got one here. I got a precept. You can bring yours out though if you got it.
You can bring out that Deuteronomy 28.
Yeah, kind. 68.
Yep, 68.
I'm gonna grab that word.
It says, and the Lord Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
Yeah, kind. And it says no man shall buy you. When we go into that word right there, for buy, right? 1 second. It is the word H7069, and it says quanah, right? For buy, it says to get, to acquire. It says of Yahweh originating, creating, or redeeming his people, right? So that word buy goes back to the word redeem, man, or to purchase back, right? So, as you see, it says, thou shalt see it no more again, and you shall be sold to your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall redeem or recover you, man. Meaning that what? No leader is gonna come up out of the ranks, to create a movement for Jake to deliver the people. No, man. Ultimately, the only way you can be redeemed back is through Yahweh Shai coming back and destroying the system, man. That's it. Because you can't do it your own way. You can't physically take this man down. You can't politically get into his system and do it. No. It must be through a divine power, man. Because that's the way it was written.
That's right. It's a scripture I'm thinking of.
I got a quick one.
You got it.
There's Isaiah 36:6. And it reads, Lo, thou trustest in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to all that trust in him. Right? So it says you trust in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt. That staff is a support system, man. And ultimately, if you're leaning on this support system, the support was given by E. But we understand that there's always an ulterior motive of dealing with him, man. That's why the scripture says, can the leopard change his spots, or the Ethiopian his skin? Neither those that are accustomed to do evil good, man. This man is always going to make sure he traps you within his system, right? It's never going to be a way for Jake to, use his system to their benefit and break his people out. That's not how this system was formed, man.
No, that's not how he was programmed.
Exactly.
There's never been a time in history, nor is it going to start, that this man just sat and thought, like, you know what? Damn, I feel bad for them Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. We've been really fucked up to them. Let's actually do something good for once and help them get ahead. They've been behind so long. Let's actually do something good for them. No, that's never gonna happen.
Okay. The one time he did do that, bro, was when the 19 came. He told Jake, you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, in that order, bro. Yeah. We need y'all to come and get this JAB, man. It's for y'all. We're trying to make sure that y'all live.
Y'all been last, for so long. You've always been the last to receive the benefits. We think you should go first now.
Right.
Hey, that's why I say, man, if he speaketh fair, believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. It's fucking devil, man.
Gone, bro. Gone.
I got one.
Yep. Let's get it.
It's Psalms 127 and verse 1. A Song of Degrees of Solomon, or for Solomon. Except the Lord Yahweh build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Except the Lord keep the city, the watchman waketh but in vain. Yeah, so everything that Jake went and tried to establish of their own power, the Lord was not involved in that. He didn't set you up to do that. Just imagine if the Black Panther Party would have prospered and actually, got to, accomplish what they set out to do, man. What's that dude that movie is after? He was one of those Black Panther advocates.
Malcolm X.
Him too, but it's another dude, the one that got lit up.
Wait,
I forget his name, man.
Dang, you said Black Panther?
He went out bad.
Shit, I can't even think of his name.
I forget his name, but he was one of those. He gained some power amongst the black community, and he wanted to take up arms. He wanted to lead the rest of mostly me and Jake, but there was women involved too. And lead them. Damn, his name is on the.
Not Marcus Garvey, right?
No. Damn.
I'm thinking of.
I think it was like in the 60s or 70s. No, it was like the 60s, maybe 50s.
Sheesh, I can't.
It's a movie. What's that movie called, man? Damn.
Not the.
Chicago know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, he would.
I'm
thinking.
At the end, he was doing okay, but then at the end of the movie, pretty much they got infiltrated.
Yeah.
As they always do.
Okay.
And Jake he wanted to shoot it out with the police, and he got lit up. Right, but that's the end of Jake, wanting to establish their own power, man, because you doing your own thing. You're not going in the way that the Lord wanted you to do it. He wants you to submit like you said in the beginning. The Lord wants you to submit yourself so that He can deliver you, so He can raise you up and give you that power to get out of your situation. You're never gonna be able to deliver yourself.
Not Medgar Evers, no.
No, it's like
They were assassinated.
damn, man, what's that movie? It's called it's like on the tip of my brain, bro.
Kind of all good.
I'm
I'm trying to find it. Not Selma.
It's
One.
like nah.
It started in.
I think so. I don't know.
Not Fred Hampton, right?
I think it is Fred Hampton.
Okay, yeah, okay, kind of.
Yeah.
Fred Hampton, yeah.
Yeah, what's that movie called?
I'll find it. Wait, I got another preset. This is Judas and the Black Messiah. Not that one.
I think that is it. Yeah.
All right, kind.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, we can grab Acts 5 and shit. What's that? 5 and is it 5?
Alright, go.
It speaks about if this counsel or work be of men, it shall come to naught.
Okay.
I think it's 38. Yeah, it is. Acts 5 and 38. It says, and now I say unto you, refrain from these men and let them alone. For if this counsel or this work be of men, it will come to naught. But if it be of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, ye cannot overthrow it, lest happily ye be found even to fight against Yahweh, man. Hey, so meaning what? Hey, any way that Jake tries to, sneak their way up out of this system or try to, rebel against the system, it's always going to fail because ultimately, you don't have the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai backing you, man.
Right.
The only way to get out of this hell, and be delivered, is through Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. There's only one exit, and that's the way it was written. So any other way is going to, ultimately diminish, and you're going to go by carnal means.
That's the only solid support system that you can have.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that will endure, anything and forever.
Okay.
Everything else is insecure. It's going to break down eventually.
Yep.
I got one to back you up.
Okay.
Proverbs 3 and verse 5. Trust in the Lord Yahweh with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding.
Yeah.
Leaning into your own understanding, you're going to always be disappointed, and you're going to always fail. Because our minds is base, man. And your mind will tell you that, okay, this is the best way to go about it, but you don't see how the Lord sees things. You don't, and plus the Lord, if He don't sanction you to prosper in whatever plan you got, it's not gonna go well anyway.
Exactly. We got more on this list right here. We read the Black Panther movement promoted self-determination and political autonomy, community programs, political candidates. It says voter registration drives. Basically Jake putting themselves back into that Revelation 13 spirit of two-party system, right? It says massive grassroots efforts to register black voters, especially in the South. Then you have running for office and political representation. Increased participation in local, state, and national politics. Speaks about Shirley Chisholm. It says groups like forming political organizations, groups like the Congressional Black Caucus in 1971. Modern movements from 2000s and presents. It says movements like Black Lives Matter, advocating for police reform, criminal justice reform, and voting rights through protest and policy demands. And this is the thing, man. Jake wants a kingdom within the kingdom so bad that they don't even understand. Hey, Jake don't have that kingdom mind, that kingdom ruling mindset.
Right.
You know, they don't understand that a subject or a master has to have slaves. You know, a ruler has to have subjects. You know, and currently that's the spot that we're in. That's why when we go into the book of Ecclesiastes, it tells us, I've seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth, man. Because we're in that position of that servant. Hey, Lazarus, the parable of Lazarus and the rich man is the perfect example. The rich man was in his heaven as Lazarus was in his hell.
How you? That don't even make sense. You trying to establish your heaven while you still you trying to get comfortable and you know deck out your cell while you in prison.
Yeah, in the cell. Jake happy as long as the cell big enough and they got Wi-Fi.
Right. You play your game. You know, get on Instagram.
Yep. Okay. So next thing we did in ChatGPT is we basically asked the system, tell us how all these ways failed. And it says, here's a breakdown of how each method African Americans used to resist oppression faced setbacks, resistance, or failure, which is just failure for all of them. Mm-hmm. So the abolitionist movement, it said it failed while it succeeded in ending slavery, which is false. Right. The only thing that happened with the between the South and the North is that one was a private ownership and the other was a corporate ownership. So you basically switch the hands of your slave master, right? So that part is already off. And then it said it didn't eliminate systemic racism. So how did it end slavery then? You know? It says after emancipation, black Americans still face violent backlash, economic exploitation, and legal segregation. The next is the reconstruction.
Just to show that the Lord's hand wasn't with that decision, Jake started to be more oppressed after that.
Yeah.
You know, it started to get more violent against you because the idea of ending slavery, you know, okay, you still being oppressed and you still are servants, you know, you still low, but now they can't do it as freely and, you know, as I guess legally as they was able to do it before. So now Esau mad now. So now he going extra hard on you. Okay.
And the proof of that is that it was far more lynchings after slavery ended than while in it. You know, and you could check the statistics on that yourself. But it says the Reconstruction era participation, and that goes back to that perpetual hatred. Right. And Ezekiel the 35th chapter in the 5th verse that the scriptures speak about, and even before that, you know, going back into the book of Genesis, the 27th chapter, when Esau said, "Now would I utterly slay my brother Jacob," man. You know, so that hatred, has always been there. Shit, in the garden. You know, we can go as far as back as that.
Can I get a quick precept?
Of course, bro. You know?
Yeah, this is Romans 13:1. It says, "Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of the Most High. The powers that be are ordained of the Most High." Okay, so like it says in Baruch 4:6, man, because he moved the Most High to anger, you were sold to the nations. You know, the reason Jake was in that condition of slavery and, you know, heavy oppression was because they messed up, they rebelled. You know, you went off course. So the Most High was like, okay, he gave us an ultimatum through the law, statutes, and commandments. If you abide by my rules, if you accomplish the things that I command you to do, you're gonna flourish. You're gonna be established. You're gonna be on top. But if you go astray from that, you're gonna be on the bottom. Those curses gonna come upon you. You're gonna be up under these nations. You're gonna you know, everything that's included in the curses. Okay. So when Jake went and tried to you know, even if, you know, they wasn't trying to physically do anything, by them going and try to, you know, go the political route of getting out of that oppression, you still fighting against the Most High. It's another one. I don't think this was the one, but it was pretty much saying, hey, at least you find yourself fighting against the Most High, man. Salaki. Yeah, it's verse 2. It says, "Whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of the Most High. And they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. Yeah, pretty much. You going against the grain, man. That's not the way you was meant to be taken out of that condition. Go ahead.
And to line back, did Yahweh Shai try to politically get his way out of Rome? No. When Jake came unto him asking, what should we do as far as the tribute money and the taxes? Yahweh Shai said, what? Rend unto Caesar what is Caesar's. It was them wicked niggas, the Sakari, that wanted to basically get their own kingdom, man. They wanted to physically revolt, to not be under Roman rule anymore. Right. And where did that lead them? That lead into a bunch of them just being judged and committing suicide, man.
Jake, let's go build up the black dollar.
Yeah.
Like, nigga, you can't create your own Federal Reserve. No, you don't have the resources. You don't even have the material for that, the machines.
Jake said black dollar with Esau face on it and shit. Niggas, man. Your way is never gonna work, Jake. You must come under the submission of Yahweh Shem Shai to win. It's that simple. It says the Reconstruction era participation said it failed by gains were reversed by the end of Reconstruction in 1877. Federal troops withdrew from the South. White supremacist group like the KKK rose in power, and Jim Crow laws quickly stripped black Americans of political rights. Civil rights organization, it says, constantly targeted by the government. For example, the FBI, COINTELPRO, surveyed and disrupted leadership. Progress was slow and often met with violent resistance. It says the legal challenges, court victories like Brown versus Board were often ignored or delayed in implementation. Right. Same way these Moore's Law niggas, when they get pulled over, they try to recite the law to the police. They thinking that like they gonna get their way out of it by talking. No, man. Go ahead, bro. What you gonna say?
When they do that, they just infuriate Esau.
Yeah, that's it, bro.
Esau gets so mad, like, nigga, you trying to outdo me in my field, God. And then next thing you know, blows start getting thrown.
Yep.
You getting punched all in the face, and what you? Oh, I didn't do nothing. Yeah, you did.
Right. Jake think they got it. It says desegregation met with massive resistance, and other court decisions later weakened civil rights protections. It says civil rights movement failed, though landmark laws passed, deep-rooted racism persisted. Many activists were assassinated or repressed, and economic and housing inequalities remain unresolved. It says the Black Power movement failed because leaders were criminalized or killed. Groups like the Black Panthers were dismantled by police crackdowns and internal conflict. The movement also struggled to gain broad political traction.
Not to mention infiltration.
Exactly. Yep. It says the voter registration drives, it said it failed because many faced violent resistance. Murders during Freedom Summer. In recent years, new voter suppression laws and gerrymandering have undermined gains in voting rights. Running for office and political representation. It says it was limited due to representation not being translated into widespread policy change due to systemic barriers, lack of political capital, meaning money, right?
And Sluck, yeah. Just imagine, you trying to forward yourself and your community by way of voting. Whether you're, you just trying to get all the black community together to vote to get them numbers up, or whether you have a representative that you want to get in office. Just imagine the people that's handling the ballots and all of the votes are your enemy.
Exactly.
Which means they're not going to count all of the votes, so that's not going to work. And they're going to make sure that, if you are running for this this position or this office, you're not going to get in that position unless they want you in it. Because if you get in that position, you better believe you've been paid off. Yep. You're going to follow their program.
And to land back off of that, say he lets a certain Jake go through. If that nigga get too powerful, we understand the only way Jake gets to that type of political power, they've gone through Esau's sororities or his fraternities, so their names are stained. So at any point, if Esau feels like Jake has gotten too much power, he'll just put out some news about you. He'll make that sword of the media, basically pierce you. Yeah. Now you got a bunch of Jake talking shit about you, and nobody trusting the words that you say because they don't believe that you're fit for a leader.
Yeah. Or all of a sudden you become suicidal.
Yeah, kind.
Get you out of there.
Yeah. So that's for the voter suppression, and I think we have two more spots. It says running for office. Okay, we read that. Tokenism sometimes replace actual structural progress. Forming political organizations, it says the failed because influence is often limited by partisanship, underfunding, or being sidelined with larger political frameworks. Goals are sometimes diluted within mainstream politics. And then it says the modern movements of Black Lives Matter, it says it's limited or failed. While they've raised awareness, policy change has been inconsistent. They face disinformation, media distortion, and political backlash, including laws that criminalize protests. And on top of that, hey, you have small hats that run that fucking organization, man, and that fund it. So it's like it. Go ahead, bro.
What is it called? That note that they leave on their website of their mission.
The mission. Yep, mission statement.
Even on the mission statement, they told you what that whole movement was really about. It was never, in the first place, it was never about the justice or the unity of so-called black people. It was always from the jump an ulterior motive behind that, and it was all feminism.
Exactly.
And even the butchers that ran that shit, they got found out. They was under investigation because all of that money that was being funded to them, because Jake's so damn simple. They don't do their research. They don't validate what they investing in. And all of that money, they was spending it on luxury shit, trips and mansions and all that type of stuff. So your own people that's supposed to be for you, they fucking you up.
Gone. Hey, and then on top of that like you said, that framework in which, that whole political or activist movement was raised over. Hey, you have small hats pulling the strings telling you, going back to that mission statement. What they said is they want to break down the patriarchal society of basically a man, ruling over his house with his woman in order and his kids in line. And they want to exalt the woman at the top, man. And to ultimately take the man out the whole picture, just like Esau is doing anyways. So this just goes to show you, man, you can't win politically, you can't win economically, you can't fight your way out of this. The only way you obtain a victory is through Yahweh Shem Shai, man. And you have to be of that number. Any other way is just pure foolishness, and it's a waste of breath. And the Lord is going to show you over and over that any way outside of him is an L. So through persecution, through tribulation, and through standing up for righteousness, the kingdom is going to be translated into the hands of another people, man. That's which right. is Israel. Not through fighting against Esau with political ballots, man.
People, when Yahweh Shai said, "I am the way and the truth and the life," people take that lightly. They just breeze over that. Like when he say he's the way, obviously he's talking about for his people, the Israelites. Like you said, the only way to get to victory, the only way to get to freedom is through Yahweh Shai, right? By way of the Heavenly Father through Yahweh Shai. That's the only way we're going to get out of this condition. But you never going to be able to fight your way out. You can't pay your way out. You can't run your way out. It's no way. Every aspect is covered, man.
Come on, let's end off on that, bro. John 14:3. I'll read it for you. This John 14:3, and this is Yahweh Shai speaking. It says, "And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. And whither I go ye know, and the way ye know." Thomas saith unto him, "Lord, we know not whither thou goest, and how can we know the way?" Yahweh Shai saith unto him, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me."
Yeah, and just like Yahweh Shai, in so many words, he said, follow the example that I left. Be in the same mind that I was in, and that's the only way we're gonna be able to survive in this. When you really sit and think about everything that's against us, man, it's no way we should still be here right now. But it's the mercy of Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai, man, and of course his story had to play out. This whole movie had to. Man, that's why the Lord's glorification in the end is gonna be so massive.
Okay.
Because for us to be so down and out the way that we are, it's no other nation that has ever been this low, been this oppressed, been this held back, and that's gonna come out on top, man. Now, a majority of our people, they gotta die. That's it. But the very few that do get saved, man, it's gonna be a great story. All right.
Exactly. Hey, and that's the truth, man. Everything you said was on point, bro. So that's pretty much the point. There is no way except to be through Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Jake, we have no might in our hands. When we go back into the curses, hey, because Jake forget that as well. Jake forget that the scriptures clearly tell you, hey, that you shall, work and not reap the fruit thereof. And you shall be the lender, or it's like you shall be the borrower, he shall be the lender, and you shall be the tail, he shall be the head, right? So it's no way out of this except the Lord, grant, it's like except Yahweh, grant Yahweh Shai back to the earth to destroy this place, man. That's it, man. So that's the point, just to go into the political route. This is just another part of the series that we want to bring out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai Shai. We want to give all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, HaKadosh. A double honors unto the apostles and elders of JMS Great Millstone. And a sincere shalom to Yakim, bringing out this word in diligence and in truth. Shalom.